Let's do this. Hey, I am back. I'm back. I am John Zidar, aka the Stock Wizard. This is basically On Top and Hot live. And God, I did this for a long time, couple years, and I stopped, not because I wanted to, but because YouTube's AI system said that my videos were dangerous and harmful and that I need to take some time off. So they put me in timeout for a few months, and that's why I've been gone. But I'm back, and we're ready to do this. Seems most people didn't know I was back, but hey, when you're gone for a few months, that's easy to do. I did put out a post letting you all know I was doing this show, but I did have a couple requests. One came from Mark Ryan, who's just showed up here. Yes, thank you, Mark, for being here. Another one came from somebody on YouTube. So I did have two of them all set up to show you. And we've got people coming in now. I love it. And we've got some requests there as well. So we're going to be taking a look at, hopefully, hot penny stocks that you, the viewers, want me to look at. When I share stocks with you, I try to share penny stocks with you, and I hope they're hot. So hopefully you've got the same thing in mind. So great to have Belmore on board. Great to see you, Belmore. Kiki, I don't think I've seen your name here before. Great to have you stopping in. Take a seat anywhere. I know there's a lot of open seats available. You might hear an echo in here because there's not a lot of folks, but that's okay. It isn't about that. It's about sharing. Sharing is caring, whether you do it with 1 or 101. So I'm glad to have you here. All right, folks, I do have a couple here all set up, ready to go. And hopefully I remember all my buttons and we get this right. Miss you too. Good. I mean, not that you miss me. Good. You can hear me. I need to know you can see me and hear me. You know how I am. If you ever watch my shows, you never quite know what's going to happen. So I'm all set with some, and we'll just let this roll on and see where we go with it. So first thing I'm going to do is get you a view of my screens. New buttons here, folks. So let's see. First thing, I think you can see this. Yes, you can. You can see anything I bring up on my screen, so I can't hide nothing from you here. So the first one we're going to take a look at here came to me from Mark Ryan. Now, this is going to be a strange one to consider because it actually isn't a penny stock right now, but it was yesterday at close. This is one we were playing a lot today. She had tons of halts, and she just kept going and just kept going right up until the end of the day. We were making some good money on SOGP. This came from Mark Ryan. These are my cliff notes. So in case I forget to tell you something, I'm just going to say it right here in the front door so we know it all together. This is a Chinese audio entertainment company. Let's get the ticker up here. SOPG. What was that ticker? SOGP. Yeah, SOGP. I'm not the only one that does this. You know that. SOGP, Sound Group. Sound Group is a Chinese audio entertainment and social networking platform. They've got a super low float. They had a huge volume jump today on news of a special dividend. And we really don't have to look at any filings, which will save us some time. I want to try to keep these brief. Don't want to drag out any of these because we like to get as many stocks under our belt as we can in the amount of time we have to go through. So as you can see, we're at $12.62. Now, I should be able to, yes, with this system, I can just jump from screen to screen and I don't have to worry about losing you folks. So I just want to take a quick look here and see what was SOGP at the beginning of the day. Well, if we come down and let's see here, that is our 1 hour. Let's go to our 5 minute. So yesterday she started off here, let's call it $3.50. $3.50, and we're at $12.62 right now, folks. That is huge, 350 to 400% run on a penny stock. Now, I am really liking stocks between $2 and $4 in the penny stock range, primarily on the major exchanges. You don't see a lot of runs like this from the OTC stocks. I don't know if it's because they're on the OTC and you just don't have a lot of big shoppers, whales down on the OTC market. They're up on the NASDAQ looking for money makers themselves. But over at Pennybois, where I'm at every single day trading with the public, right? These sort of stocks come up every day virtually. Stocks between $2 and $4 that go and go. In one day, we see them go to $12, $20, $100. And I'm not kidding you, folks. So this was a huge runner today, up 232%. She is on the NASDAQ. As I said, the company is involved in audio entertainment in the People's Republic of China. They provide podcasts, live streaming, audio entertainment products. They also offer Voice Cloud, an in-house hybrid cloud computing platform. Don't know what that exactly does. If you want to know, I'm sure you can figure it out. Taking a look at the relative volume for the company today. Look at that explosion. Going from a measly 54,000 shares a day on the major exchange to over 118 million. Folks, that's a huge jump. I can't even calculate that right now. That is humongous. Share structure. Well, we got a low float. We have got ourselves under 4 million outstanding shares. And your float is going to be under the outstanding share count. It can't be above it. So subtract whatever the insiders own. I don't know what that is. And that's going to give you your float. Well, anything under 10 million is a low float. We're starting at 3.7 before we subtract the insiders' holdings. So we've got a real low float, which means this thing can run fast with some volume going up, like she had today, right? What was that? 118 million, and we've got 4 million outstanding shares. Wow. That means every share had to sell 25, 28 times today. Incredible. But as fast as she climbs, she can come down too. Market cap, egads, $71,000 on the major exchange. I would not be surprised to see a filing come from the NASDAQ telling them that their market cap is too low. There is a minimum requirement for everything on the major exchange. How many shareholders you have, how many shares are in the float, how many shares are outstanding, your market cap, equity, everything. And that's too low. So we could see some hot water. Maybe it's already there. I haven't done a deep dive. You may want to check out the 8Ks or 6Ks. That's where that information would be. Financials. Is this company making any money? Yes, they are. They are dropping. They were at 330 million 4 years ago. We're down to 278. Profits have been up and down, but ultimately we are lower over the last 4 years, but we're still in the black. Everything is still strong. Quarterlies, we don't get any quarterly reports here, but they're coming out. It's just not here. Cash and cash equivalents, we got 62 million in the bank. If I'm confusing you, that's because I forgot to say there's 3 zeros behind everything here. 62 million in the bank, 71 million total assets, only 39 million total liabilities, which means we've got positive stockholder equity of 32 million. So the company's making revenues. They have been falling, but they've got strong revenues. They've got profit. We got profit. So from a day trader's point of view, this is looking real good. Now, why is this bloody thing running? Well, the main reason it's running is because they just announced a cash dividend. Now, this is an ADS, folks. This is stock that is being held at a bank, believe it or not. ADSs accumulate the shares together into one package. This is actually 200 ordinary shares in one ADS. So the shares are really, really cheap. You got to divide it by 200, and that's what the shares would be. Well, they just gave a cash dividend of 0.005 per share, which isn't anything great until you multiply it out. That comes out to $1. $1 per ADS, per share of ADS, per share of SOGP, you will get $1. Now, they've got the deadlines all inside here. If you want to know the dates, you have to have these bought no later than September 15th. Now, when I say no later, I mean you got to buy them on the 14th. If you want to get the dividend, you have to have these purchased by the 14th. The 15th is the last day, but you got to count the transaction period. It takes 24 hours for your purchase to get into the system and show up. So if you buy them on the 15th, it won't show up until the 16th, and you're not going to get any dividend. So your last day is actually the 14th. Now, these are going to be paid off on the 30th. Now, they don't tell us specifically what the X date is here. The X date is the date that you can actually sell the shares. You can sell the shares after you are paid on a special dividend. On a regular dividend, you can get away a day ahead of time because of that transaction period. You can actually trick the system. It thinks you still own them when you don't. And you can sell before everybody else does and before the dividend is subtracted from the price. Dividends are always subtracted from the price of the stock. So I would expect the day, is that September 31st? Do we have a 31st in September? I would expect that to be the day that you could sell your shares. If not the 31st, it'll be the next day, October 1st, whichever day comes after September 30th. So that's the reason it was running today, folks. Now, they did have one other piece of news, which was good. This was back in June. They announced a $4 million share repurchase. Now, I haven't done a dive in there, so I don't know if they've already done it, if they're waiting to do it, or what's going on. But they want to buy some shares, and we've already got a low float because we got a low OS. So if they buy more shares, it just gets better and better for us. So let's go take a quick look at that chart for SOGP. Quick look at our yearly chart. 1 day, 1 year. Is that really it? Flat. Look at that. That is a year. She hasn't been doing anything. Today is our 52-week high. Any day after the low was a high. We got a 52-week low here in May of $1.18. And I'm not quite sure what had this thing moving around, but she started rolling here and she went from that $1.18 up to $7, came back down and found a floor down here right about at the bottom of that wick. Let me get my lines here. I do want to give you some lines to consider. Right at the bottom of this wick, right there, she basically came right down to there, floated on it, and then jumped. That was from 390 to 1660. Huge jump, folks. Now, do we think this is coming back to Penny'sville? Well, no, I wouldn't think so. But hey, look, it only jumped because of the dividend. It didn't jump because of material change. They didn't get a whole bunch of new assets. They didn't make a merger, an acquisition. It's just excitement over free money. And I think it's a bit of an overkill myself. So honestly, I think this is going to come down. I think it's going to come down a lot. It's only $1 dividend, and now you got to pay $16, $12 for these shares to get $1, where before you only had to pay $3 to get $1. That was a much better deal. So you may want to keep your eye on it just as a day trade. Forget about the dividend at this point. I don't think it's worth it, but you know, that's for you to decide, not me. Okie dokie. Let me come on back here, see what is going on. Practice hitting these buttons. Oh, it should be shift 1 or is it shift 6? It isn't working. I can do it by hand. There, that works for me. All right, no new posts over here. Okay, that's all right. You don't have to keep talking to me. The point of you watching is me keep talking to you. But take a breath every now and then, for God's sake, John. I've got this phobia about dead air. I do not know why. All right, let's jump back into this. Oh, my 6 worked. We're going to go take a look at another ticker that was given to me by somebody. I can't remember their name. I couldn't find who did tell me this, but it was a good choice. CWD. Get back up there. CWD was a hot stock today. Another one that we played at Pennybois. Absolutely. You got to remember, we have a lot of people over there at Pennybois. At any given time, it could be 50 to 200 people. I don't know. And they're doing their own due diligence. And since it's not a competition, we're sharing this information. Imagine that. You can ask questions and there's somebody there who wants to share information. And I'll tell you the best thing about our community in all the time I have been on this page, and it's got to be getting close to a year now. There has not been one person swearing at another, an argument breaking out, a debate. Never. I mean, this is the most mature group I have ever been with in my life outside of church. And even in church, you get arguments. Yeah, even in church. So we are looking at Caliber Cause. Let me get to our company profile. Caliber Cause, I got some bullets on it. This is a real estate management company. We like real estate companies, REITs, as most people like to call them. They had explosive daily volume today, a super low float. It's less than 2 million, but they've got a public offering that they're working out right now, which is going to put another 13.5 million on the market. Now, 13 million isn't a lot, but think of it relative to how many is on the market right now. If we've got less than 2 million, and let's just call it 14 million, that is 7 times more shares than are on the market right now. In other words, that's 7 times dilution, 700% down. So if your shares are 70 cents now, they're going to be worth 10 cents as soon as this public offering's done. So that's going to be the problem there. So yeah, we expect a dip just because of the public offering. So let's take a look at Caliber Cause. Caliber Cause is a real estate investment firm specializing in investments in commercial real estate properties. We're not talking houses or anything like that, mortgages. We're talking commercial properties. They are based here in the United States in Arizona. Now let's just start from one side and work to the other so I don't skip anything here. Whoa. Look at that volume. Folks, over the last 30 days, she's been doing 3.2 million shares a day, which is respectable on the major exchange. But today she did 172 million, jumping up to $4.47, which is a 162% jump. It was a huge jump today. It was $2.77 up. Let's see what we got for shares. Like I said, outstanding share count is just over 2 million. You know the insiders own something. You got to subtract that. So how many shares are there? Remember what I said about minimum criteria on the major exchange? They've got it for floats. They can't have, I do believe I'm correct here, on the New York and the NASDAQ, you cannot have anything less than 1.5 million shares in the float. Now, believe it or not, you can actually be kicked off of the NASDAQ and thrown down to the OTC for that. So it's an easy problem to fix. You have a public offering, which may be the case, which may be exactly why they're doing a public offering right now, because they're under 1.5 million, which is bad. You've got to have more shares. But did they have to go that bloody high? God dang. Currently, the market cap, we're at 3.4 million for that 2 million shares. That is taking all the shares and multiplying it times the price. Taking a look at the financials. What's CWD doing? Well, the last 3 years, they were taking off, going from about 55 million up to 90 million, and then falling back under where they started. Now we're down to 51 million. Profits, they climbed, and then they fell. So again, it's like the last company. They were doing better years before, but they're still doing okay. They're making strong revenues. They got strong profits. They're in the black. So things are okay, especially from a day trader's point of view, since we're not holding this stuff for a long period of time. Quarterlies, same thing. Jeez. Over the last year, they've been 811, 87, and now we're down to 5 million. So she is falling and the profits are falling with her. But again, it's all in the black. Everything is okay. It's just getting weaker for some reason. Balance sheet, we've got 3.4 million in the bank, about 60 million in assets. Liabilities are a little higher. They're about 79 million. So we're holding deficit in this company. Stockholders don't get any of the profits. We're holding 20 million basically in deficit. Now let's see if we can find the reason this bad boy was running. We have 2 pieces of news here. Right, I remember these now. I look at a lot of stuff. I do believe I even highlighted this stuff. Yes, okay. They're talking about their own company when they call themselves Legendary Hospitality Brand Partners with world's largest indoor pickleball and paddleball facility based in Scottsdale, Arizona. What they've got here is it's a restaurant and pickleball coming together. It's the two merging so that you can eat, drink, play, have fun. It's a sports bar where you are the sports. So they're bringing these two together. It is called Pure and Wolfgang Puck Catering. The two of these companies are merging together, and this company's behind the deal right now. So if you want more information about what this is all about, they've got quite a lot in this news press. The other piece of news, Caliber establishes Link Token Digital Asset Treasury. This is supposed to be a first time thing, something. Now, I'm not into all this different types of cryptos. Tokens are different than crypto coins. That tokens focus in on a particular section of a business. Say Amazon had a delivery service using drones, and they wanted to sell tokens to support the drone division. Well, you could buy tokens, and as long as the drone division was making money, the tokens would go up. But if the drone division went down, but Amazon went up, your tokens would go down. Has nothing to do with Amazon, just to do with whatever they're backing. Well, they say here that Caliber, the real estate asset manager, today announced that its board of directors has formally approved a new digital asset treasury strategy called the DAT strategy and has adopted a comprehensive digital asset strategy policy. Under this strategy and policy, Caliber intends to allocate a portion of its treasury funds to acquire cryptocurrency, specifically Link tokens, I've never heard of them, which support the Chainlink protocol, and to engage the activities related to the management and maximization of returns from such digital asset holdings. From what I was reading here, it is a crypto token that when they invest in it, they're investing in themselves basically because it helps their business in the long run. And that's why they primarily got into it. Ta-da! Glad we didn't have to do a deep dive into that one. Disclosures, was there anything we needed to look at? We do have an 8K here. I do believe this has to do with the news. Caliber just released a news press. Yes. And the other one, 424, I do believe this has to do with the shares. There you go. They're telling us 13.4 million shares are going on the market. That's where I got that information from. Just poking my head in that quick, I could see them. So let's go take a look now at the chart for CWD. Bump, ba-da-dum, bump, 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 bump. Okay, we've got this opened up to a 1 day, 1 year chart. She's been in a downtrend all of this time, still basically in that downtrend, just bouncing. Just for a second, I'm going to get rid of my Fibonacci here because it does cloud the issue. All right, as you can see, she has been in a downtrend. Our 52-week high, believe it or not, is here. That is at the beginning of January at $15.80. She went sideways underneath the 200, but there was no way she was going to break out. You don't break out on a falling 200. It has to go flat or be climbing 99.5% of the time. So she's hanging around the 200, but she was just hanging around until she decided to fall away, and she started falling fast from roughly about $12 down to $3. What a bottom out. We had a jump here. This came in August. She went from roughly $2.60 up to $8.50, then came all the way down to our 52-week low of $1.63. Lots of volatility here, folks. She bounces around because of that low float. Now, that float isn't going to stay low for very long. I mean, it's still going to be low. I mean, 14 million, 13.4 plus 2 million, you're going to have just under 16 million shares, which is squat. That really isn't anything, but it is going to affect the stock's price, which means it's going to fall from where it's at right now. Everything is on a uptrend right now and is looking like it's going to break out, folks. To be completely honest, we are setting up in a perfect 200 squeeze here. We have the price getting on top of the 50. Up at the top is our 200 MA. Down at the bottom is our 200 Hall. Now, most of you don't use that, I know, but I do. I've been using it for a couple of years. I used it as an experiment, and boy, does it work well. It is just as strong, has just as much authority as that 200 MA up there. But it's a friend of the price. The 200 MA don't give a hoot about the price. The 200 Hall does. And when you see the price over top of the 200 Hall, and especially on top of a strong support like the 50, when that 200 Hall turns up, that price will abruptly move fast and quick, normally to and through the 200. Now we're down here at $4.46, somewhere like that, $4. Well, that's up there at $8. That's a huge bloody run, folks. That's like 80, 90, close to 100% run there. So I'm not saying she can do that, but we've seen this over and over again. So we've got a setup here, and look at all the volume that has come into the picture today and all of our oscillators. Doesn't matter what you got. Every single one of them are going to the moon right now. They're all hot. Now, I am going to put my supports and resistances back in there because I used that big drop and a Fibonacci. The Fibonacci gives me supports and resistances that I can actually trade on and that the price is going to respect because they're magic numbers. Fibonacci is a science that we don't understand, but we know it works. We see it everywhere. It's in creation. It's in the way hurricanes and tornadoes are formed. Toilet bowl water goes down. The universes are created. Flowers, shells. We've used the science to fight off overbreeding of rabbits, to determine how many bees would be born down the road. But we don't know how it works. We just know it works. Well, it works in the financial world too. So I don't question it, but boy, do I use it. So I've got my supports and resistances here that I'm going to be using as I start to trade this. But right now, she's fallen way down here. Way down here. I had to get a second Fibonacci just to work on this one. But again, you can see everything is working up. And right now, she is in a 200 squeeze. There is our 200 haul on the bottom, just turning up right now. Just turning up. And it is on top of the 50, breaking through. Let me get rid of these lines. You know what? You can't see squat diddly there. Look, now you can see it, right? She is breaking out of a 200. Look at that 200 haul just turned up. And I want you to see that, folks, because this is how quickly the price moves. When the 200 haul turns up, it's like Babe Ruth hitting that baseball out of the park. You normally get a look at how little these bars were. Itty bitty tiny bars. All of a sudden you get this huge rip to and through the 200 back down to the 9. Our 200 haul turns up. Boom, another blast higher than the last one. Back down to the 9. Another blast off even higher than the last one. This is the power you get from the 200 haul. Get over to your tools. Find the 200 haul. It's just under HULL. You've got to set the 200 in there. You may want to have two colors, one for down, one for up, because when it starts going up, I'm telling you, that price moves quick, and it works perfect on the 200 squeeze, which is what we got right there. Coming on down to our 5-day, 15-minute, flat as a pancake, had a huge run pre-market. She went from $1.60 up to over 100%. $3.44. She came down as soon as the bell hit. That's why I always sell pre-market. If I get into this stock and I'm making money and she's running, I'm getting out before the bell. Why? Because there's a lot of people that pay no mind to pre-market aftermarket. They don't have a clue what's going on. And as soon as they turn on their computer, the first thing they see is a price way up here when they saw it down there yesterday. So what are they going to do? They're not even going to think. They're going to sell. So they're going to start selling immediately. And then someone gets there 2 minutes later after she starts to fall, but still way up here at the second red bar is still a lot higher than it was yesterday when it closed. So the person that got there late doesn't care that it's not at its all-time high. He's going to sell. Then someone else sells, and before you know it, you have a downtrend. And then all your sellers get out and you have some sideways activity when smart money starts coming in, and they wait for things to set up on the chart. And then all of a sudden it just explodes and she takes off. And once she got on top of the 20, right? You can see she came under the 20, went sideways on top of the 9. Once she got on that 20, bars got big. Excitement came into the picture. She's off and running. Now she has fallen back after hours, but that's part of the volatility game. It really honestly bugs me, folks, when people freak out with every red bar. This is a kangaroo. Have you ever seen a kangaroo move without bouncing? It can't do it. It doesn't walk. It can't float. It doesn't fly. It has to bounce. Let it bounce. My chest goes in and out when I'm breathing. It doesn't mean I'm in pain. Let it move. It has to move. Look, we just had another red bar. Am I freaking out? No, because it's coming down to the 9-day. As long as the solid bar stays above the MA it's sitting on, I'm happy. As long as my price is above the 9, I know it can climb. So everything looks good here. I start to worry when I see it come down underneath. Now we're on the 15-minute chart. Let's come on down to that 1 minute. See what it looks like right now. Right now, a price looks desperate, doesn't it? Right? We had a nice rip. Even after market, she got all the way up here to $5. Fell through every single MA, is under everything now. Can't climb unless you're on top of the 9. And look at this. She's falling. We're scared, right? Why? Back up. Go back to your 15-minute chart. Look, she's sitting nicely on top of that. Don't freak out on the 1 minute chart. The 1 minute chart is like watching somebody's eyes trying to determine where they're going to go. Their eyes are darting everywhere. You have no idea where they're going to go. You can look at their feet. That may help you a little bit more. Maybe watch their shoulders for the big turns. You've got to learn where to look. And if you start watching their eyeballs on the 1 minute, you're going to go nuts, folks. So don't let this scare you and say, sell, sell, sell. Back up, get a better picture. We're in an okay position. As long as the wick is all that comes underneath, even if half of the solid bar comes underneath, there's still a solid chance you can bounce. It's when that whole bar comes underneath that 9-day, that's when you should be considering exiting your position or adjusting it, whichever you do. All right. That is everything I'm going to say about CWD. She's hot, folks. She's getting attention. She's bouncing around. She's volatile. That's what we look for in a stock, right? I see I've got comments coming in over here. Let's see what be said. How do I get rid of this again? Boink. No. There we go. Learning a lot from you, sir. Well, good. Good. You know I gab a lot, but, instead of just talking about the stock and talking about the price, I know a lot of you are still learning so much. And if I can tell a little bit here and a little bit there, I know it adds up. So, yeah, my videos are pretty remedial. I repeat a lot of stuff, but it's because I want to help new traders. I'm sure traders that know all this stuff find me real boring. So, thanks. I appreciate that. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. OPAD has been on fire all day. It's a climber as well. Started out at 359, now at 620. Telling you folks, you should join us over at Pennybois. It's nice to have a community doing all this due diligence. It's nice to tell people that you're doing this, for them to say, I'm doing this right now. Now, nobody there can tell you when to get in and when to get out, but we can tell you what we're doing. We can tell you what we think, but nobody is licensed. We're not copy trading. We're trading with each other as a community. And I tell you something, folks, when people win, I'm happy to see the wins because wins feel good. Wins build up your ego. It's not about how much money, it's those wins. And when you lose, I hurt for you. Hey, it's not my money, but you're there on my page, and I want to make sure that you're trading well. So we teach you a trading plan for scalping. Once you get that plan down, you can start going to other things. Learn the steering wheel, the gear shift, the gas pedal, the brake. Get those things down pat, and then we'll work from there. So please drop by on Pennybois. I do believe there is a link down below. I'm back on YouTube now, so there should be a link in my comments down below. You can get the Discord there. It's absolutely free. When you get over there to Pennybois, look on the left-hand side. There's a scrolling menu. It'll say Stock Wizards Momentum Chat page, I think it is. Big old long name. That's where I'm at every single day, 9:30 to 4 o'clock, trading with whoever is there. Okay, did I have anything else? Let me check my notes over here. Can you guys see those notes? No, you can't see those notes now. Oh, all right. I did tell Kiki that we were going to look at BTQQF. So why don't we do that? Bring down that. Hey, he remembered. All right, Kiki, we're going to go look at BQQF. I'll get it. Where did I go? See, I can't do this all the time. Strange buttons here. I miss my partner. I used to have help. No, I'm not that one. There she be. We're working it, folks. We're working it. All right. So there's my notes. Yep, you can see him again. And let's see. Kiki. She wants to look at BTQFF double Q. BTQQF. BTQ Technologies. What did I learn about this in a quick flash? Because she gave this to me late, so I jumped into it quickly. This is a post-quantum cryptography company. Post-quantum cryptography. We'll try to get a little more information about that. Files to uplist to the NASDAQ. That's their catalyst right now. They're not just talking about it. They've actually filed their Schedule 40, I believe it is, that you've got to do. So let's see. BTQQF. This is on the OTCQX. The OTC has 3 tiers. The pink, which isn't here anymore, they call it the OTC ID, is the bottom tier. It's the ghetto. Not to say everybody who lives in the ghetto is a criminal, but it is the ghetto. You got to be very, very careful when you invest down there because there's no validated information, not even financials. You got to take the word of management for everything. The news presses, just consider hype. Take them with a grain of salt. Don't invest in pinks, play pinks. Your OTC QBs are your middle tier. They have to give you financials. They have to be audited. They start filing. They got to have a minimum price of a penny. This is when they start getting some respect and move into the middle class zone. Then you go to the QX, top tier, $1 million homes. These are big companies doing very well. A lot of these companies could be on the major exchange, but actually choose not to. Yeah, there's a lot of banks that just don't have a lot of people investing in them. And since they have under 2,000 investors, they don't have to pay huge fees. So they get away paying hardly anything to be on the market. And they're not there to actually make a lot of money. They just are a public company. You got other companies that are foreign companies like Budweiser, EasyJet, L'Oreal, Nike, Nintendo. All these companies are on the QX. You got companies on the QX at $10,000 a share. I'm not kidding you. You got shares at $30,000 a share on the QX. You thought they were all junk. You thought they were all penny stocks, didn't you? No, folks, there's a lot of real estate down on the OTC. So this is on the best tier, and they are going to the NASDAQ. They are currently at $3.32, though they fell today almost 6%, dropping about 21 cents. Now look at all these green ticks over here, folks. These are all good things for the company. Verified profile, transfer agent verified, independent directors. The reason you list these here on this site is when you are serious about uplisting. As I said, they're serious about uplisting. This company is based out of Canada, so they had to meet a secondary criteria to be approved, to be considered legitimate, not dangerous. They've met that criteria. And to go one step further, they are now penny stock exempt. Even though they are $3.32, under $5, it's all it takes to be a penny stock. And even though they're on the OTC market, they legitimately are not considered a penny stock because a penny stock is considered risky. And the definition of penny stock exempt, all you got to do is click that and it'll tell you, is that you have to have been in business for 3 to 5 years, have had millions of dollars in revenues or assets during that time period, and kept up with your filings and your financials. If you've done all that, you're like a teenager showing himself to be responsible. We're not going to treat you like a kid anymore. We're going to treat you like an adult. And that's basically what penny stock exempt says. You're an adult. So let's see what we can learn about BTQQF. Her volume dropped today. Now, you got to remember, folks, she's on the OTC. The OTC is struggling for volume. Oh, my God. Since COVID, folks, things went deadly. The OTC went into a coma. Up here, we have 12,000 companies on the OTC market. We did a total of $2 billion on all those companies. That's all we did. Now, this is where I can really break it down for you. 4.2 billion shares is all that moved today for 12,000 companies. Before COVID, we were doing 60 to 70 billion shares a day. We're lucky if we hit 5 billion shares since COVID. It has been so bad down here. So when you see a company doing over 1 million shares on the OTC, give them some love. That ain't bad down here. But she did fall. She lost about 25% of that, falling to 790,000 shares. Share structure for BTQ. It's respectable. Outstanding share count. We're at about 140 million. I don't know what the insiders own. I presume they own something. Subtract that. That's your float. Market cap. We're at about $500 million. We're at 488 million. Financials for this company. They just now started making revenues. At the end of last year, we had 463. Now, I'm calling them revenues. It is revenues, but I don't know if they're actually in business making money. They didn't pay anything for this. Now, when you are working with digital services, things don't cost you anything. You know, if you're just sending out a download, how much does it cost for them to download your product? Zero. Doesn't cost nothing for them to download it. So that may be the sort of product they have with this quantum cryptology. Now, speaking of that, we didn't get a whole lot of information about the company. So let's jump on over here real quick to their website. That isn't working. So let's try a different link. Post-quantum infrastructure to secure mission critical networks. I'm going to presume that this is going to be quantum fighting quantum. The problem is with quantum computing, it can break any passwords that we have, any of them. And it's not going to take 10,000 years to do. No, it can do it rather quickly. And the only way you can fight it is with another quantum computer. Fire with fire. So I do believe that's what we're talking about here, is that the company is dealing with post-crypto, you know what I'm saying. All right, let me get back. This page kills me. 404 goes blip, blip, blip on my brain. All right, what else did we want to see? We want to see why this thing is running today. Right there, files Form 40F registration statement. This tells us that this statement is with the United States Security Exchange in connection with its application to list its common shares on the NASDAQ. That's what you want to see. You know, anything in a news press, you take with a grain of salt. Anything in filings, that's concrete, folks. That's legitimate. You can't argue with that stuff. That's why I always think it's funny when I see investors taking companies to court and suing them for stuff they say in news presses. Man, this stuff is not concrete. That's sand. And let me tell you what, if you read the news press carefully, I'm sure you read it wrong compared to how it's actually written. You read it differently than the way it was written. They always cover themselves. So they are serious about uplisting, which is a big deal because they're going to get more volume up on the NASDAQ, especially with quantum computing. This is a new sector that is getting respect, even though the CEO of NVIDIA made that comment that it wasn't going to go anywhere for 20 to 30 years. He was wrong. It started making headway just a couple of weeks after he said that. And it is going to make headway. It is going to be big, but it's speculative. Nobody knows. You know, we got synthetic intelligence. We've got quantum intelligence. We got AI intelligence. What do we know? You know, it's all very speculative right now. But getting up on the major exchange will give them a whole new audience of people who have money. It's going to get their price kicked up. You got to be at least over $3 to get onto the NASDAQ. They're already there, so they're not going to have a problem with that. Any other news to consider here? Go back, please. Announces 20 AGM results. Oh, right. They just had a shareholder meeting, and they had a whole bunch of new directors that they wanted voted in, and they got them all. They were all approved. Now, if you don't know what a director is, folks, it's your think tank. It's also your brakes. Your directors are people that give you advice on how to run your business. The better your directors, the better your advice. They're not just there to tell you how to make money. They're there to tell you if you're doing something wrong. And sometimes you get coups building up in these companies. You have the management and you have the directors getting into arguments. That's not happening here. I'm just saying. They each have their role in a business, and they just changed all their directors. Normally, when you change directors, it normally means you've got to change a direction coming because you want everybody on board. You want everybody in the same boat. And let's see about disclosures. Those are all old. That goes back to 2024. There's voting results. We just read that one. News release. Yeah, we just saw the most recent news release about them uplisting. And then we go back to this one here, which is on the 8th of this month. That's also about the registration statement. So we basically covered all the information for this. So let's go check out the chart. Now, once this goes up to the NASDAQ, we'll get rid of that F. That F is there because it's a foreign company. They're from Canada, so they get an F. So once they go up on the NASDAQ, that's going to fall off. Okay, where are we at? We're on the 15-minute. Let's take a gander at our yearly chart. So she was going flat, hit this low of 18 cents in December of last year, and that was it. Something happened. We can go back and look at whatever was happening at the end of last year. It changed everything. She had no attention being given to her. Now she's got volatility. We got activity. We've got rise. We have a change of trend. She was flat, comatose here. Now our 200 is rising. Now our 200 is rising faster. This is looking good. She is bouncing on top of the 200 all the way ever since the start of the rise at the beginning of the year. Everything is looking good with this stock right now. Now, looking at our other MAs, we have a biorhythm. It's just like waves on the water. Unless it starts getting choppy and it breaks up all over the place, you can read this nice and smooth. Up, down, up. So we expect down, but we also expect up. So you look for these crossover zones. You see how this isn't totally flat, but when you have everything smooth, you get this biorhythm going. It's like sewing, stitching, going across back and forth. And that's what we got going on here, folks. Our bumps and jumps are getting bigger. Our steepness on our 200 is getting steeper. So everything is looking strong. Our oscillators, everything was on a downtrend, of course. That fell hard from $8.37, which is our 52-week high, all the way down to $2.73. That is a huge drop. But that's the volatility we're getting here. So when she starts to run, you can probably make some money. And when she starts to fall, don't panic. Just sell. Wait for her to fall. She likes to fall. And then wait for her to bounce. She likes to bounce. And then make some more money off of that. Let's come on down to our 6-month, 4-hour view. Lots of volatility. We're down here at, 44 cents. And then we got a high of $8.37. Oh my God, folks. That's over 1,700% run. Now, of course, nobody's holding it that long. I'm just telling you, she's on an uphill climb right now, folks. Even when she's dipping underneath the 200, she is dipping to get more power, to get a bigger run so that she can go higher. Now, she's come down very hard here, but look at this bowl. Look at the scallop, right? It looks like a fish hook. A fish hook. That's what we call a scallop. A scallop is a very good play. We like to see the scallops. It's not a full cup, but it shows gradual change of pressure. We see all the buying pressure coming in. She's getting on top of our ladder. What am I talking about? These MAs are 20, are 50, are 200. That's a ladder. She can't get up unless she starts jumping on top of these rungs. Our kangaroo has to have something under her. If she doesn't have anything under, she can't climb. That's why after a big fall, you have to wait for all the MAs to come back down to her so she can start to climb. We're starting our climb right now. And yes, we're going to have downs. We're going to have bounces because that's what kangaroos do. Everything is starting to climb slowly. Pressure is coming back. We can see we're on a downtrend. Things are leveling off. We should be looking for an uptrend. Coming down to our 5-day, 15-minute, we were under the 200. Look, perfect example. Our 200 is falling. Right here, it is going flat. The price got up on top of the 200. Can't really break out yet because it's still falling. Comes down, lays on it till it goes flat. Right here, it's flat. Now it breaks out. That's when you get your breakouts, when your 200 is level and then starts to climb, and she just bounces off of it then. When she gets real light, she'll abandon the 200 and she'll start to jump off of the 50 or the 200 haul, or better yet, the 20 and the 9. So right now, what we see are peg legs coming down. Here we had solid smack, boom, big solid bars beating on it. Now we only got peg legs, just the wicks, bing, bing, bing. So she's getting lighter. She's starting to climb now. So we're going to keep our eyes on this. All of our oscillators are starting to climb except her RSI because it basically follows the price line. And looking at our 1 minute just to get a feel of what's going on. So she broke her 200 here, fell fast and hard. Now when I see a fast drop that comes right back up real quick, I normally expect that as just a spring bounce. That's a Tigger bounce. Our kangaroo is doing a Tigger bounce. Big boing. The deeper down it goes, the higher up it goes, like a cat crouching. The crouch and pounce. So when I see it fall fast and then come back up on the next bar, that to me is an entrance sign. Now, yeah, we had some volatility here, but that pillar, that foundation tells me I'm ready to climb and I need something to hold me up so I don't fall over. So this was a sign to me. Once it came back up, once it was up here, this would be a safe one to get in. And you could ride this up. Now she's over the 200. What have we got? 200 is just now going level. Just now going flat. Yeah, she's dipping. This is the fake out. This is what happens. The true traders, when they see an opportunity building up that we're all looking for, they drop the price to get your stop losses. They bring the price down hard and fast to break all your stop losses because now all those shares are available. They pick them up down here real cheap and then immediately bring the price back up. People with money can manipulate the market. So when you see a price going sideways without any real volatility, and then all of a sudden it just does some crazy drop or even a bounce up, watch for a quick reversal. That could be a fake bull trap or bear trap in this case. So you see it drop and then you see it pop. And this is how we get burned, right? We get into a stock that looks perfect for entry, and then somebody comes along and manipulates it, pushes it down, grabs our shares, and then starts taking off with them. And that happens a lot, which is why it's very important to get your stop losses below wicks. Now, this came down deep. Boy, oh boy, there was no way you were going to avoid this one unless you brought your stop loss all the way down here, which is a deep one. But look, you can see that's where it really needed to be. That's where our stop loss needed to be. She came down. It would have never touched. It would have bounced, and it looks like it's going back up right now. All right, so I am liking BTQQF, not only because the chart looks like it's warming up, but because they are serious about uplisting. The uplisting isn't just to another OTC, but to the NASDAQ, where people with real money are. So they're going to get more volume, more money, more attention. That's going to kick this stock up. And where are we at? Between $2 and $4. So this could be one of those stocks that runs to $10, $20, $30, $40. Because when you're dealing with new sectors like quantum computing, it's all speculative. We're guessing where this stock could be in 30 years. Who the heck knows? And that can get the stock running. So this could be a stock you want to keep on your watch list for a while. What time is it? 4:53. Boy, I didn't cover a whole lot of stocks today, did I? Okay. Can you look at PASG? Hello. I'm going to call you Gina. Just being safe there. Or I could call you AJ. That's an easy one to do too. Kiki, thanks for diving into it. You bet, Kiki. I appreciate you coming and being here. I don't know how many people showed up. 6, 7, 9. Woohoo! Well, considering none of you really knew I was going to be here, that's not bad. Plus, it is being recorded. Others are going to get to see this wonderful show. Let's see. THH. Velmore did bring up THH. In case you didn't know it, folks, I'm not going to forget you. We will jump into PASG, PASG. I'm going to put that on my screen so I don't forget it, right? Velmore had mentioned, you can't see that. Good thing I got another another computer over here. I can see what you can see, but I can't get the buttons right. Give me the right button. Thank you. Okay. Right. All right. I'm taking you over here to see THH. THH was a brand new IPO today. Initial public offering. This is the first time it ever came on the market. Now, initial public offerings, I am on a 1-minute chart. So that's 1 minute movement you see there. This is all the chart there is. There's nothing more to look at. When IPOs come on the market, they aren't just on the market when we see them. A lot of times they're on the market before they hit the open market. This stock came on the market at $4, but it really didn't hit the market here till I think it was like $6.85 or $7, something like that, but not $4. So why didn't it come on at $4? because it was being bid on, I guess you would call it pre-market. It wasn't on the market yet, but it was being bid on by pre-IPO bidders. How do you get to be a pre-IPO bidder? Well, there are certain sites, Moomoo, I think Fidelity, maybe Webull. You're allowed to bid on these before they hit the market. But the catch, a lot of times, because this is where the money is made, you can get in cheap here. And when it hits the market, it goes crazy. And of course, you're making money. Well, they don't want you to pump and dump, right? They don't want you to get in cheap and then sell as soon as you bought them. So when you buy the shares pre-IPO, you have to normally hold them for 30 days. You got to hold it. You can't sell it. If you sell it, you get penalized. I don't know what the penal punishment is, but you get punished. But in either case, that's how the price goes up. So this came on the market at about $7, and we caught it. Matter of fact, let's see here. If I come back here, yeah, you're with me. Right here, THI. Okay, we had found this stock initially. Me and Dilliner, we found this at 10:25 in the morning. 10:25, and then I put up a chart first thing here at 10:25. I grabbed the chart fast. There it was. This is what we do at Pennybois. We're out there together working. Now, I found this. He found that at the same time. If I didn't find it, he'd have brought it to my attention. New IPO. Well, these IPOs have a tendency of halting. Now, a lot of them run and then fall. A lot of them fall and then bounce. You never know what's going to happen. So we follow these by not only watching the charts, but by also watching the trading halts over here. As you can see, SOGP, which we just talked about earlier, look how many times it was halted at the end of the day. You normally don't get a lot of halts at the end of the day. They happen at the beginning of the day. Now, I happen to be over here at NewYorkStockExchange.com/trade halt. You can go to the NASDAQ site. They got one too. They show you all the halts, not just the ones on the New York Stock Exchange. But here you go. Right here, we had a whole bunch of halts for THHH. That's at 10:22. Now, that's when she was running. After that, it was done. But as you can see, she was running hard. We went from $7.35 to $9.65 to $11.75 to $12. And I don't know, I'd have to go draw the lines in there where all the halts came in. Now, it gets tricky and scary when you're playing halt stocks because you're in it. You go to sell and all of a sudden it just halts. And you don't know if it's going to drop or if it's going to pop as soon as the halt comes off. A lot of times it does pop up, but sooner or later it drops down. And when it drops, it does normally drop abruptly and quickly. Well, there are a couple ways that you can play this. When we identify a halt, like this one back here, when we identify a halt, we look at that high bubble right there, $7.44. What we do is if the stock starts to fall, when it starts to come back towards that high bubble, we put in a bid at 2 cents over the high. So 744, we're putting in a bid at 746. And we're going to put in a very tight stop loss, just a couple pennies underneath. If it doesn't work, we don't want to be there. We only want to catch this. Well, why this works is because your bid of only 2 cents over the high is over the high. That's a catalyst. You broke the high of the day. So as soon as your bid is taken, bing, you are the spark. And it runs. And you can get a run for 20 cents to $2. But this is a fast gain. And you can do this over and over again on halted stocks. And you can follow all the different halted stocks by going to sites like I was just showing you there. Thank you for bringing that up, Velmore. All right, now we're going to go take a look at PASG. Yes, and I'm going to get rid of that right there. There you go. Okay, come on over here to PASG. PASG. Haven't done any homework on this, no pre-DD, so we're going to do this the way I would. What are you doing? No, I don't want a ticket. PASG, that's funny, huh? I get an airplane ticket when I come over to PASG. All right, so we're looking at PASG Bio, ticker PASG. This company is based here in the United States, Pennsylvania. All right, the company finished today at $6.90. Not exactly a penny stock. We like to keep stocks under $5, but if she started off under $5, you're okay. I let one do that, so we got to let everybody do that. If you were a penny stock at the beginning of the day, you can bring it up now. So we're at $6.99 or 90 cents. We fell, so it was actually higher at the start of the day. We fell about 2%, 14 cents. This is a penny stock on the major exchange as well. It's on the NASDAQ. So what is this company about? PASG Bio is a genetic medicines company that develops gene therapies for central nervous system diseases. Then we got a lot of big words there and letters I don't want to read. Let's see if we get any insight, maybe a picture over here at their website. No, we just get those genetic things. Our phase 1-2 study in frontotemporal dementia. All right, so they're working with dementia and Alzheimer's, all these neural diseases that affect our mind so that we can't think properly. This is what they're working with, and it looks like they are a early stage. Does it say it? Early stage? No, it doesn't say what stage. I got to figure with stage 1 and stage 2 phase trials, they're an early stage. So let's see what we've got for relative volume around the company before we check out why she was running. Relative volume. Oh, hey, gee, Jiminy Beats. First, I was hurt by this 71,000 shares a day. Then I looked over here. Ouch. On the NASDAQ, under 1 million is bad. Under 100,000 is anemic. Today, we're down to 5,400 shares. Come on. We're lucky if that's 1 or 2 purchases. That is really bad right now. We're going to have to see why we're looking at this. Now you got me curious. Not hungry, but I'm curious. Let's take a look at our share structure. Well, we got a super low float. Not that I know what it is, but our outstanding share count is only 3.1 million. The insiders probably own something. Subtract that, that's our float. Wow, under 3 million is our float. Now, we didn't do anything for volume today, so I don't expect the chart to move very much. Market cap, we're at about 22 million. Is this company making any money? Uh-oh. We got no money on the NASDAQ? Well, at least not on the annual. Are they making any money yet? No, not on the quarterly either. So we got no revenues being generated here with this company. Let's check out the balance sheet. Okay, in the bank, we got 3 zeros we got to throw behind this. At least they got money. They got about $57 million in the bank. Total assets, including all that money, we got about 80 million. Total liabilities, it's only about half of that, about 40 million. Whoa, that's kind of nice, right? They're not making any money. They have no revenues, no profit, but we have profit. I like that. We got about $38 million in stockholder equity. So if you got stuck holding this because you missed your exit, you actually wouldn't be holding a bag. All right, let's go see what we can find out for catalysts. What is going on with the company? Not that she has a catalyst right now. We did a 1-in-20 reverse stock split. Yeah, we did. We did that on July 14th. So we did have more shares. They did that to kick the price up, I'm sure. Has approved reverse stock split to make compliance, regain compliance with minimum bid price. So that worked, right? This company was under $1. They did a 1-in-20 reverse stock split, bringing the share count down from 60 million down to 3 million, kicked the price up under $1 to over $1 to wherever it went, and now they're at $6.90. So their reverse stock split put the price in front of people who are willing to pay attention to it. So far, she's showing signs of coming back to life after that reverse stock split. Financial results. When did this come out? August 12th. So this wasn't too long ago. Well, they're not making any money. So really all you're going to get with these is where their phase trials are at. And it sounds like they're doing good, but they always like to put their best foot forward. And if you see the word top line results, don't presume that's good news. Bad news could be top line results. That's just what they call it. It's like headline. Top line is like headline. It's just a word they use. So don't think top line results is good news. Always read to make sure. Good luck reading it. It's never fun reading these things. Just scanning here, seeing if I see any big investments. Research and development expenses were $5.8 million for the last quarter compared to $10 million the quarter a year ago. So they cut their expenses down by 50%. That's good. That's real good. We like to see them spending less money. Net loss was $9.4 million, and they had to adjust that because of the reverse stock split. I can't understand that. I would have to do some more reading there. Okay, and disclosures. Well, we know the stock split's over there. There is the most recent financial, the 10Q. That is a quarterly report. 8K, that's also going to be with the financials. It's going to be an easier read, but that is the financials as well. And a Form 4, this is an insider acquiring or disposing of company stock. Now, they can do that in a lot of different ways, but what I'm interested in is a purchase, a P, or a sale, an S. Right here in the middle, you get your code. P, purchase, I'm interested. Now, it could be a lot of different letters, and I'm not interested in all the letters. I'm only looking for purchases and sales. So here we got what? 50, 110, 120, 140, about 140,000 shares purchased by, it tells you up here in the top corner, Lynx Capital Management, which is a insider. They own 10% or more of the company. And if you really want to know what this means here, whatever letter is there, you can normally get an explanation right here. You can get some education, just a little more to know about what's going on. So we had an insider just buy more shares. Now, they originally had 475,000. Now they've got almost 600,000. So they're increasing their shareholdings, which is always a good thing to see. Insiders buying more shares themselves. Do you believe that's everything we need to look at? That's amended, so that's going to be older than we need to look at. Amended, yeah, we're good there. So let's go take a look now. Did we cover everything? Yep, we're good. So we're going to go take a look at the chart now for PASG. PASG at B. Are you with me? You're with me. PASG. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let's back this up to a year. You know, most people, even if you're day trading, you look at the yearly chart first. You want to know, has she been in a downtrend? If she's had 4 red bars over here like that, if she has numerous red bars, the likelihood of another red bar is there. Unless you see some heat building up somewhere else, the yearly chart is giving you a heads up pretty much what to expect by the end of the day. That doesn't mean it's going to fall all day. It bounces. It's a kangaroo. But by the end of the day, ultimately, this could end up being lower than where she was the day before. If she keeps making new lows, that's what we would expect. So let's back this up to our full year chart. It's just easier to do it this way. So we've got a high here. Do we have a reverse stock split? We do, right there. The reason I was looking for that is it says our high is $26.60. Don't believe it. Our reverse stock split is right here on the 14th of July. Do you see a big red bar or a green bar? Normally you would see one big green bar where it kicked the price up 20 times. Then you get to see if the price fell or if it climbed. And you can say, this was a failed reverse stock split. This was a successful reverse stock split. We don't get that. What we get is them changing the entire chart. Every number on the chart behind that purple bubble, behind the reverse stock split, has now been multiplied by the ratio of that split. So that high of $26.60, you have to divide by 20. So that's going to be, I don't know, $1.10, $1.20, something like that, $1.06. But you've got to divide it forever. They're never going to put the prices back. They're always going to be wrong. Now, the chart's correct. We can read the chart, but the numbers are not right. Anything on this side of the split, you can trust both the chart and the numbers. So we did have a high over the 200. She fell under the 200. She's been falling to this low of $5.12 post reverse stock split. Went sideways for a while, and what we've got is a breakout setup right now, folks. A 200 squeeze, right? Price has gotten up on top of the 50, worked up. She was bouncing off of our friendly 200 haul. Perfect start for a setup. Got up on top of a flattening, leveling out 50. More setup, perfect. The price is coming down to the 50. And what do we got here, folks? A rising 200 haul. Rising. This is Babe Ruth's swing in slow motion. We see it happening right now, folks. We can get ahead of this. This is going to probably smack that price to and through the 200. Now we're at $7. This is at $9.30. That could be a nice juicy run right there. Could this be a trend change? It could be, but we need to see what the rest of the charts look like. Everything on our yearly chart is actually bowing down right now. So she could actually come back down to the 200. I've seen that many times. See a perfect setup, see her come back down to the 200, and that's where it launches. The heck with the 50, it just goes from the 200. So it's possible. We are in the zone. Definitely deserves to be on your watch list. 6-month, 4-hour view. Can we trust this number? No, that's $20. That's that high. Falling down to the low, going sideways. What do we got here on our 4-hour chart? We've got ourselves a 200 squeeze. She is over the 50, under the 200 MA, over the 200 haul. She is falling, but she's in the watch zone. That's all we can do. It's an indicator at this point. A signal is when we get green bars going up. Now we need to do something. Right now, we're just in watch mode. Everything looks like it is trying to go sideways. The fall is stopping, and she's starting to level out a little bit. Coming on down to our 5-day 15. Nope, let's check our hourly. I want to see my hour. We've got a trend change, but do we? She was falling, went flat right there where she broke out. That's where you see her breakouts right there. Everything went level. She jumped from 560 to 760 back down to our dynamic duo, the 50 and the 200 haul. You'll see these together a lot. They travel hand in hand, which makes a solid piece of timber for our price to bounce off of. We see a lot of bouncing off of this zone right there, the 50 and the 200 haul. Came back down, bounced off of it again, broke it here. Looks like she's coming down to that 200 MA. Very well could. Our 200 haul is starting to roll down. So I'd be watching for either a peg leg or a slap, but then I'd be looking for a slap and go off of this. Now let's take a look at our 5-day 15-minute. Yeah, she's coming down. She's looking scary right now. We can see a lot of pressure on the shorter time frames. If we come down to the 5-minute, I'm sure it looks even scarier. Yeah, everything is over her head. She's underneath all the MAs, which is a horrible place to be. Coming down to that 1 minute, bite your nails. Yeah, it looks terrible. So we've got to go back and see if we do have any strength. That 30-minute, all right, the 30-minute, we see that things are trying to level out. So between 30 minutes and an hour, you got to give this a little bit of time, 30 minutes to an hour, see if she takes her bounce, her biorhythm change, see if she starts to take that trend change. But over the long haul, she may not change tomorrow, but I think this is off and moving. I think she's definitely going somewhere right now. PASG, yeah, after the reverse stock split, she's showing that she's changed her trend and she's climbing. Definitely worth your watch list. Where are we at? 514. Whew. Just now starting to lose my voice. It does happen, believe it or not. Thoughts on OPTT? TEJ, hey, good to see you, buddy. TEJ, I'm presuming this is the same TEJ that's over at Pennybois with me every day. He's on my momentum page. We've got a few free pages over there, so he could spend his time elsewhere. But he hangs out with me, does a lot of digging, brings us a lot of hot stocks. I'm glad to see you here, pal. Thank you. Wee-woo. Woo. WEW. Is that a ticker or is that just like a whew? Okay, the golden calf. the bull, the tiger, the goat. I don't know. Tough to tell what it is. Okay. OPT. All right. We've got 15 minutes before my voice is going to give out. We've got an hour and a half going into the show. OPTT. Do you folks know anything about OPTT? You don't. Well, first thing I got to do is hit a button or you're not going to know anything more. So let me see if Control 1, that didn't work. So just still practicing. That didn't do it. That did it. All right. We're going to look at OPTT. This is one of my favorite long hold companies. I really like this company. Let me see. Let's jump on over to their website. That's going to do more. Oh, the heck with you. Yeah. This company, I don't believe has any competition anywhere in the world. Not that I'm aware of. And what they do is they have these OPTT, powered buoys. Powered buoys that connect to all sorts of communication, satellite, Wi-Fi, 5G, 4G, anything. They connect to planes, boats, submarines, land, all of that. Search, yep. And let's see if we can get to their website. Jeez, oh, Pete's. God, is it that hard just to get a website up? No website. Come on, Google, just give me their bloody website. There, thank you very much. This is going to be news releases, but at least we can get over to OPT from here. There you go. So they have solar power. They have wave power, something underneath. It just paddles, makes power. You can plug in. They've got plug-ins that you could literally come up to this and plug into it and get power. They have these boats, manless boats that can do whatever it is you want them to do. Now, this could be military, it could be scientific, it could be weather, whatever you want them to do. They power up from that buoy, and they do it through AI. When they run out of power, the boat just comes over, an arm comes out, blip, and it plugs in, gets its power, and goes back to what it's doing. And a lot of countries are wanting this. And I'm getting the feeling it's primarily for security, not for any research and development and that. You can hook guns up to these. You can absolutely do that. And these things can be out there securing your border on water without anybody. And they can notify you whenever something comes in. Cameras are out there and everything. Radar, sonar, solar, or whatever you got. They are going on here. And I haven't seen any other competition from this company. So this is what the company is all about. I think they're going to be great because the world is covered in 2/3 water. There's a lot of coastal countries. We are moving into an age where we need to have as much knowledge about our borders as we possibly can. And without any competition, who are you going to call? Not Ghostbusters. You're going to call Ocean Power, right? So Ocean Power. What was her relative volume today? She did 3.1 million shares, which is only half of what she's normally doing. She is on the New York Stock Exchange. She is at currently 54 cents, which is in hot water, right? She's under $1. Anytime you're under $1, you're in hot water. Now, how long could you stay under $1? Used to be 6 months. Sometimes it's only 30 days. Sometimes it's 10 days. I don't know where they draw the line, but I'm sure she's probably got herself an 8K telling us that she is in hot water. Now, you never know which one it is. You can always go over to Google and just put it in, and they can probably tell you. Ocean Power Technologies accelerates UAE, United Arab Emirates, growth strategy through expanded partnership. United Arab Emirates are doing everything with technology. They have got hydrogen from coast to coast for their vehicles. They've got their waterways covered with these powered up buoys. Let's see here. We were looking for bad news, sorry to say. NASDAQ. Ocean Power Technologies highlights marine energy leadership and testimony before New Jersey legislation. I don't know what that's about. Another 8K here, all from this month. Material definitive agreement. The company has entered into a sales agreement with Ladenburg Thalmann They're going to sell them shares of $40 million. So you've just had somebody buy $40 million worth of company stock. Huge investment, folks. And looks like they may be putting shares on the market up to $40 million worth of shares. Oh, no. But they are putting more shares on the market. Just because somebody else is buying them doesn't mean it doesn't affect the OS. Hell yeah, it affects the OS. How many shares is that going to be? I don't see another big number here. And do they give us a price of what they're going for? No. Yeah, right there. 52 cents a share. So 40 million, that would be what? About 80 million more shares. How many shares has this company got? Let's go take a look. All right, outstanding share count. We got 177 million shares. We're going to get another 80 million shares from this big 40 million investment. Great for the company. They got themselves $40 million. That's good for them. But we just had shareholder dilution of about 50%, right? 160 million. We are doing 80 million shares. That's roughly 50%. So we should see the stock fall. It may have already done it. I haven't done a deep dive, but that's what that would do. You take away shareholder value, it affects the stock price. Now, when you see these pieces of news come out, if you see the stock fall 80% and it was only a 42% shareholder dilution, well, there's like 40% overkill there. So we know when people do the math, that big drop is going to come up at least to that righteous zone, and it may even come up a little bit more. But we expect to drop, and we expect it to be hard and fast. So you always want to watch out for those. Let me see. What else did we have here? News. We got any current news? Well, I probably already got the news by just looking at the filings. UAE growth strategy. Does this say anything about money here? How many they're buying? Dun, 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 dun. A unique group will immediately lease OPTT unmanned surface vehicles. So they're buying those unmanned surface vehicles to go along. It's a package deal. Most people just don't want the buoy for communication. They want something out there to give them communication. And you don't have to put a man on a boat or a man in a tower. You just have these little boats running around, repowering themselves whenever they need them, getting free power from the ocean and the sun forever. I mean, God, man, what a great product. Outstanding. What other news did we have here? See if there was anything we missed. Ocean Power unveils enhanced MAROS, Maritime Domain Awareness Solution. Don't know what that is. Expands U.S. presence with new Washington, D.C. office. Ooh, that could be a big deal there. Ocean Power highlights marine energy leadership and testimony before the New Jersey legislature. A strategic reseller agreement in Latin America. I'm telling you, folks, this is going to go all over the world. There's nobody else selling these. So they're going to need resellers in Europe, resellers in Latin America, resellers in Asia. They're going to need resellers in Australia. They're going to need resellers everywhere. I think this is a great long hold. I like this company. Now, do I see them being able to do anything with the mining of these critical minerals on the bottom of the ocean? I don't think so. I mean, they do work on the bottom of the ocean floor with generators and stuff, but I don't think they're really set up to go mining and harvesting, which is what this is. You got other companies out there that can do that, TMC, OMEX. Not that either one is doing it yet. We heard Trump talk about it, but we just haven't seen any licenses given yet for doing it. So that's what we got going on here with OPTT. Pow. Let's go take a look at the chart, and then I'm going to let you guys go eat dinner because I'm hungry too. OPTT. Let's go back a year. I need a drink. Oh my God, you can't read that. I'm going to get rid of all of those. That better for you? Yes. We've been playing OPT for a while. As you can see, once this stock got hot, it stayed alive. Now, obviously, it's cooled down since its initial launch. We had a huge bounce here. Our 52-week low was at 13, call it 14 cents. I don't see any reverse stock splits here. Don't think we have to worry about that. She went from 13 cents to $1.75, folks. Ooh, that's over 1,500% gains. That is a huge rip. Took her time, took a couple of months. It was a steady downtrend. We had a pop here and there, but she came all the way down to the 200, which is expected. So it's not like, oh, she's crashing. No, that's normal. That's her 200-day average price. That's where most people think it should be. So it stayed there for a while. See our biorhythm, all of our MAs here, they all went flat right here. Everything is together. Then they started to pull away. The Dixie cup is on the current. Boom! She got a nice push out of that. Went from about 50 cents up to $1. Got a 100% run. She's come back down. She's revving back up. We're probably going to get another pump up. How far? We can only guess. She has some big rips, 1,500%. She has some little rips, 100%. You know what? I'll take either one. They both sound good to me. What does our oscillator say? Let me back this up so I can get a little more perspective here. All right, our PPO is actually starting to turn up right now with our volume. You can see we had all red volume here. It all went down, and it's starting to cup up now with all green volume in the picture. All of our MAs are starting to cup up, all turning up, all starting to climb in harmony, in unison. That's what we like to see. Taking a look at our 6-month, 4-hour view. I want you to have more chart. All right, she's pretty much flatlined in this area right here, right? You can see once she had a rip, she came down to the 200 and pretty much just been sitting on that yellow line right there. And we need her to get off that line. Well, right now we're actually in a 200 squeeze. But before I grab that 200 squeeze, I want to grab my Fibonacci. I see a big run right there, and there's nothing else to really use. I could use this one here. And as a matter of fact, that's probably the better one to use. When she gets higher than this high right there, that's where I will use this as my Fibonacci run. But right now, I will use the little one. So I'm going to grab my Fibonacci tool, zoom in on that section. I'm going to poke the very top. I'm going to come down to the very bottom where that particular run began. This is now my supports and resistances that I'll be using to trade this stock. So right now, we're down here at about, here, let's come down to the 1-hour chart. Right. So now we've got a trend change happening, folks. Very good timing. 1 hour. Look at our 200 falling. Right here, she is leveling off. Right there. Right there when our price is breaking over it. You see it over and over. I keep showing this to you. When your 200 MA goes level. Not close to level. Level. When it goes flat. Right there. Boom. Boom. Dead center. Boom. That's where we're flat. Now she's starting to climb. And what happened? Our 200 haul has turned up because we are in a 200 squeeze in this point right here. The 200 haul is right there. She gets up on top of it, on top of the 50. Our price bars get bigger to and through the 200. And notice it doesn't matter if it's during the day, aftermarket, pre-market. That setup, the 200 squeeze, breaks out to and through the 200 in most cases. Not 100% of the time. Nothing is 100% of the time. But I would say 7, 8 out of 10 times, that is a strong probability. And any stock that falls, when it starts to come back up, it has to do one of these. So all of the MAs cross each other and you always get a 200 squeeze. So it's one of the most popular, easy to find bullish patterns. It's my favorite one, and I don't know of anybody else who talks about the 200 squeeze but me. You're welcome. All right, so there you go, folks. OPTT, she is hot right now. She's running. We're on the 1-hour chart. I can see she's going. I'm not going to go any further because my voice is starting to hurt. But this has been successful. I didn't do too many blunders. Let me see. I get lost on the buttons still. But I'm finding, nope, that's not it. But I'm finding, oh, I left the tiger up. See what I mean? I'm not perfect. Well, folks, I appreciate your time. And now that I am back on YouTube, That's the only reason I wasn't doing these, is I got kicked off of YouTube. In case you guys didn't know it, it's not that I, as far as I'm concerned, I didn't do anything wrong. They had AI come into their picture and started monitoring all of the videos, and it found over 30 of my videos that it classified as dangerous and harmful to the YouTube community. These sort of videos about stocks, about how to set up TOS, think or swim. And it's like, you got to be kidding. Well, it said I had way too many. So it kicked me off for about 2-3 months. And that's why I haven't had these. I've been putting my videos somewhere else, but I'm getting like 2 or 3 views for a 4-hour video. It takes me 4 hours to make these videos. And when you only get 2 or 3 views, it's really heartbreaking, folks. That's a lot of effort and frustration making them. So YouTube, I get more views. I have about 5,000 followers and still only get 200 views. Come on, folks. Give me my views. I want my views, just like I want my scalps. All right, so I'll be back here next week, Thursday, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, bring your sodas, your sandwiches, your beer, your THC, whatever the heck you got. Make yourself comfortable. Don't worry about taking notes. I'm recording this so you can watch it again later. You know you want to watch it again later. Thank you, folks. I will catch up with you again. I'm John Zidar, the Stock Wizard, and you're watching On Top and Hot. Remember, the more you know, the more you're going to grow. I'm so confused. I don't know what to do. Somebody turn me off before I get undressed on camera. Did I just say that? See ya.